Hello, in this video I want to talk to you and show you my workflow and processes when designing a full application and problem solving in Figma. So a lot of this is going to be why I use Figma for problem solving. Now I'm designing lots of pages here, as you can see. It's getting complicated. I'm building up my components, but I think this is the best way to do it. And I want to walk you through this project and tell you why I'm not using AI to do it, and I prefer to go through Figma and really churn out the the human thought processes, because at the end of the day, humans are going to be using it. So I think that's why this works. So what I'm building is augmentative and alternative communication system, which is the abbreviation is AAC, and this is what people with disabilities and people who have difficulties with communicating, they can use this system to communicate within symbols. So I'm using the symbol sticks library here. Here's a quick mock-up with the symbols in, just as a reference point, really. I've made an MVP, and this is now the full build. So let's dive in, and this is where Figma has really helped me, because I'm trying to tackle a very old problem that exists within the AAC tech community, which is how do we categorize words? Do we have a group of words such as put all the things, like some existing AAC systems have like a folder called things and places and people and stuff like that, and they can and the user learns where they are, they navigate to it, and that's called modeling. So with the system I already built was a quick search system designed for parents, really. In fact, let me show you. This is most speech as it exists. It's very simple. In fact, I can go in and show you. It's a very simple interface. You only have two categories: is the history and the core words. The core words are the 400 or 500 most used words in the language, and I thought this is a good free option to always have, so people can get going with modeling. So it's very simple. You can say, and in the history,
eat rice.
You can choose your words, and when you press play,
eat rice,
it plays it full screen, which is a problem that I found with existing AAC systems. It was very small. So I've made the symbols large, and I've made a way that you can play them in sequence full screen. Now, when we dive back into Figma, I'm now turning this into a full AAC modeling tool, which is going to be helpful for teachers to create boards and students to learn how to use the symbols and to navigate to them. So this concept of navigating to grouped words can be extremely complicated, and so here is my homepage, and I'm thinking how do I categorize these words? Should I have them in boards already categorized like existing? But then I also want lists, so students can work through lists 1, 2, 3, 4. They're not actually talking, but they are following instructions and having kind of like a task analysis. And then there's also sentences, so when they build up their words, they can save their sentences, or the teacher can save their sentences and they can use it. So there's a lot of things going on here. And this is my search page, so taken from the original the MVP that we have online at the moment. This will be in the search tab, and I'm still playing with these ideas of having boards, lists, and sentences. Then I come to develop the add symbol or edit symbol page, where if you search for a symbol, you can choose it, it will play, but then you might want to save it somewhere. You might want to save it in your board, or here I started making folders. It's starting to get a bit complicated now, because now in lists I want first, then lists. So first we do one symbol, then we do another symbol, very simple. Then I want checklists where the user can check stuff off. So I'm in this navigational bar, I'm playing with these ideas here and developing them as I go from iteration to iteration. This is another way. So here I'm searching for it as it exists in most speech already, and I'm thinking, well, I could have different tabs with different libraries. I could have Google Images, and I could even have image generation with Nano Banana or another kind of image generation where you could put the prompt in. You can have styles of the symbols that you want to add. So it gives you an extra flexibility if you can't find the symbol in the symbol sticks library. I want to give the viewer lots of options to have, like even without a camera, maybe other libraries, Google Images and image generation. So kind of just adding this here on the fly, just an idea that popped in, and I'm making I'm making simple wireframes here with not much color, so it's purposely kept simple so that I can keep the ideas flowing, and I don't get bogged down in aesthetics yet. I really want to see how the architecture of the information is going to get to the user, and also I'm thinking, while I'm doing this, I'm also thinking about databases. So here I come to like a category section, and it's starting to get confusing now, because I'm thinking, well, I could have a page that goes into categories. In there I want the boards, but maybe boards are the same as categories. Then how would I group all my first then lists? And how would I group all my checklists? That they would go in a folder that looks like the categories. And so I'm messing around with these ideas. I'm not really committing myself to anything. This is an idea I've had for a long time. It's the play modal. So whenever you build up a sentence, instead of just playing in these small lines here, it will go full screen, kind of an iteration from what we already have in most speech to play full screen. And have the thumbnails below. So the user can choose which image, they can see it in the sequence, and they can also see it large. I find having this image large is quite an important thing that AAC systems aren't doing at the moment. So let's jump back into here. Here we have, okay, so this now comes on to my next idea that I've had. So when you're in a board, it's like a group of symbols. Say it could be places, and you've got all your places here saved. You're going to want to use them. When you press on it, it goes to the top line and you can build up a sentence. So I'm starting to develop this, which is what I call the talker. It's something that existing AAC systems already have. It's a very standard way. You click on the symbol appears in the line, and you play the sequence. I started to add bits where you can clear it. Originally, systems at the moment, they just have a clear button, but I'm thinking if a teacher's using this, they would like to save it to their sentences page. So this would be, and then I started to think it's nice to have a board just as a visual cue card. So these boards and these categories are all very similar things. And if I show you this one, I've had this idea of, see, because the navigation is getting quite complicated here. Now I'm introducing something else. So I'm starting to think, how can I reduce the complexity of the navigation and kind of hold that within the page or the component itself? So here I've made this talker, but I thought maybe it could also be turned into a board with just a header. So there's nothing really so you're not forced to think that you have to build up a sentence. You can just have it as a board, and teachers can use it to prompt users to use symbols in other activities that aren't necessary on the bit of technology, the iPad or the computer which they're using it on. So here I'm developing this idea of board and then having the symbols play full screen singularly without being in a sentence. Now I'm also developing ideas for the checklists. I want a category for lists because this is very important for people with communication problems. How do they follow instructions? How can they understand the first thing to do, the second thing to do, and where are they in that list? Can they check stuff off? So I really want this idea of checklists to come in. I think it will be very useful. Here we have the edit mode, so users can edit the checklists. Just playing idea with different ideas of how they would be structured. They could go horizontally, they could go vertically, and they can also exist in the play modal as well as a full screen option. So that's more of the checklist. Then I move on. So that's kind of like one iteration. That was my first one. Then I move on and I really start breaking it down into the navigation. I realise I'm having problems here with the navigation. It's too complex, it's complicated, it's starting to get a bit convoluted. So I'm really trying to simplify things here. And this is where I think I've come up with my solution. Still work in progress, still developing, but here we have a much simpler idea. We have the home, which is where you'll get your usual kind of most recent symbols and the kind of quick access to create anything you want on the home page with some templates. And we just have two other main categories. One's the search and one is just categories. And I'll show you how I solve the problem by putting the complexity of the navigation into components rather than pages. So here, this is the search page. It's very much like most speech at the moment, of just a search bar and results of symbols. But we can add the talker to it, or we can remove the talker to it. So you press talker, it pops up and you can add your words. And in the talker, we have a drop-down menu which now has all the core words, all the small words like I, you, like these words. All the words you're going to need to make a sentence. The common words, the words in between, but also quite useful. The most used words, they are now stored in the drop down. So you can make this go up and down, and then the actual content is stuff you search for, or let me go on to the categories. So when you click on categories, all it is just categorized words. These can be anything, and I will ship it with the default set of categorized words, which are yet to be confirmed. And these will go in line with current AAC systems on the market at the moment. They're all quite similar, and I don't feel the need to change these categories, but users will be able to add their own categories as well. Say, for example, the user is obsessed with dinosaurs. They can hit this add category, and we come to this kind of add category wizard where you can put in your title of the new category and all the symbols you want to add, and it will add them. As we go into the category here, you still have this option of having a header, having the talker, or a title. So you can flip this between the talker to build up sentences, or just a title to turn it into a visual cue card or an activity board. And now we're in the actual category. So imagine this was the category of clothes. You'd have the breadcrumbs up here of where your navigation is going to. It goes from category straight, and then we're in the clothes category. And then within categories, we're splitting these up into subcategories. And you'll be able to do this with every category. So you have board view, which is like this. When you hit lists, it will show all your lists, and so all the lists grouped together for that category. So this was a great way of categorizing lists rather than have them stranded in an unordered group on the navigational bar. They now exist in an actual category, so you can get really organized. Here you can view them in different ways: vertically, horizontally, or in grids. Okay, and then you've got the play modal as well, and also the edit. You can the page to edit your list, add new items, save changes, all your normal functions for editing a list. Okay, and then also with lists we have sentences. So these are sentences you would have built up on either the main talking board here, or maybe you built up a sentence in the search page. You can save it, and you save it to a category, and it will appear here. Very quite similar to lists, but different in a way. We haven't got the 1 or 2. We haven't got the numbers. We haven't got the checkboxes. We've got a sentence, and this sentence can get played full screen, and it just cuts out all the noise of the background, so the user can just concentrate on symbols and can see the accompanying sentence there. Another important feature that I want to add in this application is first then. So this will be in the category of then, so we categorize our first thens. So this is used by speech and language therapists to teach students what to do if they get agitated and want to quickly move off a task. This is really useful to say, no, first get dressed, then eat breakfast, or whatever it can be. It could be any context at all, but I thought this is a good way of categorizing these kinds of lists as well. So this is my first end page, and of course we have the play modal where it can get enlarged. and the user can really focus on what is being conveyed to them. Here's the edit page, and then this is the main bit of the application. So this is what I call, this is how most speech will go into modeling mode. Modeling mode is teaching the user the motor skills to memorize where each symbol is. All the AAC systems on the market do it. It's something that most speech, the MVP version of most speech, got criticized for not having modeling. It was just more of a symbol exposure, and because of this, I had to rebrand it as instant access. I couldn't really call it AAC or AAC modeling. I had to take those words out, and understandably I wanted it to be correct. But this is one of the main reasons I'm using this. One of the main reasons, one of the main problems that I wanted to solve with this application. So when we go into modeling mode, this is from an instructor's point of view. So the instructors on here, they've got all access, all edit access. They want to model a certain symbol in this category. They go into modeling mode, they get all the options that they want to model highlighted, so they choose one. It could be socks, for example, and we get the modal pop up of which student they want to. I'll go to the settings page in a minute, but you can add multiple students, which student they want to model it to, and a kind of confirmation of let's model. So once this is selected, we go into modeling mode, and this is where the screen blacks out. We go back to the home page, and we have interactive steps for the user to follow to show them exactly. Hold on, let me just fix that. To show them exactly where the word is. It's gone a bit out of line there, but it's it's only wireframes. Exactly where it is. They get to it. It's a journey for them, and I want it to be a bit exciting. I want there to be some kind of experience and something happening when they get it. I don't want it to just end with nothing. So that's just my way of displaying that. I haven't decided what the final end confirmation sign will look like, but this is like a placeholder. And when I zoom out and look at it, I think it works. The page goes dark. They get to focus on these highlighted areas, which is where they'll be pressing, and they get the confirmation that they've done something correctly. Very important. One thing I haven't showed you is the settings page. Now, the way this is set up is it will be a parent or a teacher or a therapist will be in charge of various students. They can add students, they can give students rights, privileges to go into to have certain functions working. So they might not need to search, they might only need boards and lists, where the student has the instructor can create everything. Or they might be high functioning and need access to everything, which is where the instructor can come and give them access to everything. That's no problem as well. So it grows with the level of it grows with the level of the student as well. We have voices here, which will be the instructor's voice as opposed to the voice of each student. And we can change the sizing of the grids, have the nav bar on the left or the right, and have some color and font options for the text. So this is just a wireframe, but it really helps me just and this isn't everything. I mean, really, this could be developed much more. There's even background of the symbol, colors, outlines. There's all these things that could be put in here, but it's a start, and this is where Figma is great. This is where Figma really works, because it's a start, and I can develop from here. And as I develop in a humanistic way, rather than asking AI for a solution to my problems. And I find it a lot of the time it overcomplicates things. It does it how I wouldn't want to do it, and I still think Figma is the best way for working through these problems. And I can zoom out, I can see where I've come from, I can see the progress I've made, I can see possible faults or possible avenues that I'm going into that I don't want to go down, and all I got to do is scroll over and I can start my new iteration there. So just a quick video to show you where I'm at with the development of MoSpeech, my design process, be it that messy and very humanistic at the moment, but I think that's okay. And as I build iteration after iteration, it gets refined each time. And I think another one or two, and I'm ready to start building this. There's already a lot of concrete stuff here that I like, that I know I'm going to include, and there's stuff that is nearly there, and stuff that I want to work on much more. So this is it, mid design video. Thank you.